Hey guys, it's the video you've all been waiting for. It's my trip to Mexico. In this video I'll be showing you some of the different things I did in Mexico, as well as reviewing the charity organisation Operation Wallacea. So if you're really keen into conservation and are considering it, this is probably the video for you. I'll be separating the terrestrial and the marine sites so you can skip to them using the timestamps in the video below. I spent 1 week in the Calakmul jungle site where we went and visited the temples and spent a lot of time learning about different aspects of conservation. This area is both a UNESCO heritage and wildlife reserve. I only stayed in the base camp of Calakmul, which had tents and dry toilets in, as you can see here. For some people considering this experience, this may be a worry, but honestly it was perfectly fine and the facilities were really good at this camp. The research in this site was based about the differing rainfall patterns caused by global warming. Because there are no rivers or lakes in this area of the forest, there's only these sort of pond things called aguadas, which are made from mud pits. A lot of these aguadas are drying up and therefore the animals that rely on them are being affected. Around the camp there are many temples, both excavated and unexcavated, and the animals in the forest are dependent upon the old Mayan ecosystem. Many of the monkeys found are still distributed around where the old fruit farms used to be for their culture. Talking of monkeys, we saw loads of howler monkeys and spider monkeys whilst we were on this trip. The spider monkeys were a lot more interactive with us and even threw sticks at people. This trip was really good for learning loads of different aspects about conservation, which would help anyone wanting to go into that career space. We did surveys for all different animal types, both in the day and in the night. In the next couple of clips you can see the difference between the forest in the day and in the night. There was no light pollution, so it was pitch black, and this allowed us to catch lots of different animals. The first one you'll see here is us mist netting bats. This process involves setting up very fine nets so then bats fly into it and end up getting caught. Here's me releasing a bat. All the surveys were designed so the animals wouldn't get hurt, so don't worry about that. Whilst we're on the topic of the nights, the scariest thing that was flying around was the black witch moth. These guys were huge, as you just saw on the trunk of that tree. And on the screen now is a compilation of pictures of the catches that we made in the night. These include scorpions, tarantulas, toads and snakes. We even had a look for the Mullet's crocodile. The only times that we went out at night were for herping and for bats. Herping, by the way, is the study of creatures which crawl, which means amphibians and reptiles. Even though I'm not sure how snakes get counted in that. Now to move on to some of the things that we saw in the day. You might be able to see the variable coral snake in this video. They have such a potent neurotoxic venom that it can actually kill you. So we definitely had to watch where our feet were going. The biodiversity in the Yucatan Peninsula is crazy. Just look at some of the invertebrates we found. On our first day we went to breakfast and found 2 different types of mantis just at our table. One camouflaged as a leaf, whereas the other was unapologetic in its mantis shape. The next couple of clips show you some cool animals that we saw. This is us setting up a butterfly trap. My favourite was the coati, which is a bit like a raccoon mixed with a lemur. One of these walked out on the path in front of us. Unfortunately my video got corrupted, so it's not great quality. I'll show a better picture of it in a second. And this pattern in the soil is actually from a jaguar's footprint. Here's a coati and an ocelot on one of our camera traps. Overall, Calakmul was amazing and I would definitely recommend it to anyone interested. But now let's dive into that water. Whilst not part of Operation Wallacea, I actually went on a whale shark tour. Whale sharks are the largest fish in the world and can get to about 16 meters long. The 2 that we saw were only about 6 to 8 meters long, but they were still massive in the water. It was so surreal being in the water next to something that big. Whale sharks are such a majestic animal and I've always dreamed of seeing them, so this was a dream come true for me. However, I'm not really sure on the ethics of this project because they do mob the whale sharks, so it is quite sad to see. Now back to Operation Wallacea with the marine site. Akumal is very close to Cancun and it's also known as Turtle Beach. We spent our week learning to be PADI open water divers and I'm now certified. So hopefully we'll be seeing more diving videos on the channel. I really enjoyed learning to dive because it was so relaxing and the instructors were so nice. The only problem with it was that I had to go back up to the surface. And I thought I looked a lot cooler recording these videos than I actually do. Anyway, what you really want to see, there were loads of fish and there were tons of turtles, and I even saw a shark. This isn't actually in the video, it was a 5-foot long nurse shark. However, you'll be seeing a lot of these green sea turtles. This area is a massive tourist area because it's really well known for the turtles. With Operation Wallacea, if you do any work with the turtle team, you'll actually be allowed into the restricted areas. We did 2 sets of dives a day and we saw a turtle on every single dive we did. There were lots of different fish in the sea, as the saying goes. We saw barracuda, parrotfish, triggerfish and filefish, just to name a few. And later on you'll even see a stingray. Surprisingly, all the footage you'll see is from my last day, meaning we saw all this stuff in only 2 30-minute dives. The reef that we saw was absolutely huge. There were loads of different corals on it, both soft and hard. Our last day was quite tidal and it was amazing to see all the soft corals fanning in the waves. A really odd thing that we found on our dive was this motorbike that they'd put there. Apparently a couple years ago people used to sit on it as a prop for diving pictures. Because it's been here for so long, the structure itself has started to turn into a mini reef. And you can see just how many different corals are growing on this one thing. The marine site itself was a lot less primitive than the jungle. With normal toilets, air conditioning and bunk beds, it was a lot comfier. It even has a pool. The marine site is good if you're not up for the full challenge of the jungle or you really like underwater life. You're placed with experts at both locations who really know their stuff and are happy to teach you anything. Once a day you'll get a lecture just overviewing some of the key conservation efforts that the operation is doing. Everyone there is so nice and I wish I'd gone for longer. If you're on the fence for this decision, I'd say go for it. It's a once in a lifetime experience and it's so fun. Thank you to everyone who supported me and helped me go to Mexico for this amazing trip. Whilst I'm done with the Operation Wallacea review, let's have a look at some of the marine life in these videos. The Caribbean is known for its beautiful seas and amazing underwater life. In my opinion, it's the perfect place to learn diving. This is because the water is really warm, so you don't have to worry about wetsuits. It's about 30 degrees down there. Whereas in England, sometimes you have to worry about putting dry suits on. And whilst it's possible to see turtles like this green sea turtle here, you probably won't. Green sea turtles feed on jellyfish and seagrasses, hence why they visit Akumal Bay. Seagrasses are our main hope against fighting global warming. They sequester carbon 35 times faster than the rainforest. Sequestering carbon is actually taking it in and storing it, rather than just being neutral. It's actually taking carbon out of the atmosphere. Green sea turtles can be found almost everywhere on the globe and unfortunately they're endangered. They're threatened by so many different things that we might actually lose these guys. Which is a massive shame because they've been around for longer than the dinosaurs. The loss of seagrass beds, long-line fishing and also changes in global temperatures are all affecting sea turtle populations. Like crocodiles, different temperatures change how many boys and girls are born in each clutch of eggs. However, opposite to crocodiles, the warmer it is, the more female babies will be born, which means they have to be careful where they lay their eggs so they don't get too hot. Also, if you look at the bottom of this turtle, you'll actually see a fish. This is a remora and it's a parasite to the turtle. The remora will eat the turtle's poo and other parasites on it, but will actually reduce its swimming speed. The colours on some of the fish that were swimming on the reef were amazing. It doesn't help that I'm used to freshwater fish that are normally quite drab. Whilst their colours look really vibrant on this video, this is because I've actually colour corrected for that. The further that you go down underwater, the more washed out colours look. This is because water doesn't absorb light equally. Reds go first and then greens and then finally blues, which is why under the water it looks very blue. The turtles were so relaxed with us because we kept an appropriate distance. This area previously had problems with people touching turtles, which caused them to get the FP virus. This is a variant of herpes which actually gives them tumours, and unfortunately caused the death of quite a few turtles in this area. Regulated tourism in this area has stopped the decline of sea turtle populations, which has made this area a vital refuge for the 3 main species of turtle that they find here, being the hawksbill, the loggerhead and the green sea turtle. Anyway, I want to say a really big thank you for watching this and sticking with me for so long. I hope if you were considering the same trip, this has helped you decide, and for everyone else that you've enjoyed watching the videos that I've taken. It was an amazing experience and I hope to bring you more videos soon. Have an excellent summer and let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. See you soon.